natives have been there at some point in their lives. Um, I know one of the things that I always like about the fair and the expo center is after I walk around and get hot outside of the fair, I could go inside and cool off.
Yeah.
So that's what I always think of when I think of the expo center. Or sometimes I think of the flea market that's there. I
Yep.
know I've been there for that, and
Everybody
I'm
loves a
pretty
flea market.
familiar with the facility for that reason as well. Um, so I mean, it's a very well known facility, and I know that Bill has faced challenges with COVID because of that facility, and but I am going to. We're all the way up to 19 people already, Bill.
Wonderful.
And I'm going to turn it over to Bill to have him talk about. He has three different openings that he has sent me information on, and he's going to talk a little bit about each one of those. And then I want to open it up for questions as well, because that's one of the most important parts about the showcase is the ability for folks to ask questions about these job openings.
Sure.
So thank you so much for being with us here today,
My
Bill,
pleasure.
and I will turn it over to
Morning,
you.
everybody. Thank you for having me. My name is Bill Murray. I'm the Director of Operations at Kentucky Expo Center, and wanted to talk a little bit about the openings we have and some of the flexibility we have as far as our classifications of employment. A little bit about operations, very briefly. We're the largest department at the Expo Center. At the end of the day, we're responsible, myself and my team, for 1.2 million square feet of exhibit space, a 16,000 seat arena, a 6,000 seat arena, 500 acres of land, and about 56 to 60 meeting rooms. So the kind of unique thing about what we do here is we have all of our own electricians, carpenters. We're very self-sufficient. We do all the setup and tear down of all of our events. We have our own housekeeping and janitorial services, forklift drivers. So the unique thing about us is it's different every single day. So if you have folks that are looking for jobs that like the diversity and, different activities every day. So it's funny because one half of our facility will have 1,500 cows, and the other half of our facility will have a car show all going on at the same time. And then we kind of transform the facility again into the state fair. So there's a lot of moving parts. Something you may not know about the Expo Center is the Kentucky State Fair, the National Farm Machinery Show, and our North American, which is an international livestock expo. It's actually it's law that we have those three events here every year, and the only person that can make any adjustments to those events are executive branch of government. So you can't have the state fair anywhere else but here. So that's pretty exciting. So the positions I have available within operations right now, we have our janitorial and housekeeping positions. Essentially, our restrooms, a lot of our boardrooms, and all of our what we call bright work, glass and handrails and things of that nature. We have a tremendous amount of glass and windows here to clean. Those positions start at $13.50 an hour. And the way we handle those positions, if you have folks that have, received Social Security or disability payments, and they're worried about working too much to where it affects, their disability income adversely, we have a classification. It's a part-time position that is an average of 100 hours a month. So, some months it may be 110, but other months it may be 90. So we have a lot of flexibility in those capacities, because I do have some folks that work for us now that, have disability payments, or they have Social Security. And we really found that helps them to stay within that threshold for their monthly and annual income. And then we have our interim full-time position. So what that is it's a full-time position, some paid holidays, and pretty much it's a 9-month term. When we get to about 6 months, if the employee enjoys working here and it's a good match for them, it's a good match for us, we start the process of moving them into a full-time state position with full benefits, pension, kind of the whole 9 yards. And it's a very nice package. And so for the environmental services, that's true for all 3 classifications. And again, that starts out at $13.50. One of our most important job positions that we have available is in the event services department. And event services team, they are responsible for the setup and tear down and actual maintenance for all of our events. So we have a cattle show moving in. They'll set up the cattle ties. They'll make sure that the building is, clean and ready for our clients coming in. And then those folks in event services actually work the physical shows. And then obviously the tear down and getting ready for the next event that's coming in. So each one of our buildings at our facility has an event services team. And so they're all constantly, they all may work together in one building, or they may have, 5 events going on all at the same time in different respective areas. So that's a lot of customer contact. It's, really operationally, we're kind of the face of the organization when we have our events here. From the environmental services side to the event services side. I do have some folks that work for us that have sensory issues and they don't do well with crowds. We have an ability to work with folks that may have some of those issues. So those folks would work for us on our setup days and our tear down days, where it's just basically our staff here at the property. I have a daughter myself that has special needs and sensory issues. So it's certainly something I'm very aware of and compassionate towards, and we all are here. And then you also have, folks that they love to be around customers. They love to be in contact with, the general public, and we can do that all day long. We also have forklift positions available. And if somebody has some experience in operating a forklift, we'll certainly train them. We do the certification here in-house. We have our own training and our own process for that. Those positions start out at $15 an hour and go on up to $16. So if you have somebody who has, mechanical sense and they've wanted to drive a forklift, we will certainly afford that opportunity and give everybody a shot. It's, we do that, folks come that work for us on a regular and they say, hey, I want to drive a forklift. I've been interested to do it, or an aerial lift. We certainly give them the opportunity, train them. And then, if it doesn't work out, it's just not a good fit, we certainly find other spots for them. Especially now we're getting much busier, and it's kind of like somebody already turned the lights on all of a sudden, because we went from, I think, 2 events last year to now it's every weekend. So we're starting to get very, very busy, which is very exciting. I'm excited we're going to be having the state fair again to what it should be, hopefully. So I actually, oddly enough, missed corn dogs last year. I never thought I would say that, but I did miss the corn dogs. So we're very excited, and we're finding that because we're the largest facility in the state. We're the 6th largest facility in the country. And it was important to me when I met with Kitty that we do that community outreach and kind of work with folks and local organizations to try to see how we can partner together. We also have, and we're in the process of starting this program where because we have master electricians, master plumbers, master painters. So we have some positions available as a plumber's helper. We also have some positions available as a painter's helper. And those pay rates really are kind of the $16 to $18 an hour range, depending on experience and if anybody has any background with that. So there are opportunities there. And then also, times we find that somebody's great on the floor and they do a good job, and you get talking to them and, they had this experience or that experience. And, we certainly move folks around based on skill sets and what they're interested to do. It's very much a culture here that just because you start out in one position doesn't mean that there's not a forward path for advancement and things of that nature. So we have our section supervisors, which is an individual responsible for one department within operations. Most of my section supervisors all started out in either event services or environmental services, and now, they run an entire building here at our facility. So we're very much about promoting from within. And if we have folks that are interested to learn something and want to pursue their skill sets and build their skill sets, we are all for it. I started out washing dishes a very long time ago, and so we kind of very hands-on, and it's an exciting place to work because it changes every day. And, it could be a situation where somebody gets here and they do a great job and they're very much a part of the team. And then they have the opportunity to get into a pension and really kind of secure their financial future very long term. And that's always the goal, is to get folks to that point. So let's see if I missed anything. That's about it. If anyone has any questions, I'm certainly open to them. Right now, I could probably hire about 40 to 50 people respectively. So we have several positions available. And we're also partnering with some other local organizations within the community, like GED programs through Jefferson County Public Schools and things of that nature.
And you also had the outside positions.
Yes, thank you. I almost forgot about that. Our grounds crew takes care of all of our outdoor spaces. They run a wide variety of tasks because we have just as many outdoor events, I think, sometimes as we do indoor events. Anybody coming on with us in the grounds department would have to be trained to operate forklifts and heavy equipment, because we do have, things like bobcats and front end loaders and things of that nature. The grounds crews, a lot of walking as well. All of our positions, you're on your feet for long extended periods of time for sure. And then the grounds positions, we start at the $15 an hour rate, because pretty much after folks start and get kind of a feel for the way the property lays out, we're going to start automatically training them on our equipment, because that's a crucial component for the grounds department. So I think that about covers everything.
Okay. All right. Well, let's throw it out to questions now. Do we want to start with Millie?
Yeah, I'm always there.
Good morning,
I always
Millie.
have my hand up. Bill, I work with a specific group of population. It's substance use and opioid use individuals who have been in recovery or are coming out of recovery and looking for employment. And most of them, all of them, are looking for employment that will provide them with a career so that they can continue on their recovery path. Do you hire people that have a history? Some will have justice involvement. How do you feel about that?
As long as they show up to work, Millie, they do a good job. I have no problem with it.
That's what I hear all the time, as long as they show up. So,
Yes, ma'am. I mean, honestly, my philosophy, and I have a lot of folks with varied backgrounds that work for me. So you know what? Everybody goes down a different path in life, and people trying to turn things around, I'm more than happy to help them continue on that path.
That sounds great.
Like I said,
All right, now I have a couple of people that are certified as forklift
Wonderful.
operators. So,
and yeah, I mean, as long as, there's no issues when they come to work, I'm fine with it.
okay, that sounds good. Thank
No
you.
problem.
By the way, I'm glad the state fair is coming back.
Thank you.
Other questions?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you also hear a train,
What?
No.
or is that too much in the background noise? Sorry. Bill Murray,
Yes, ma'am.
thank you so much for being here. Seriously, I think you're a model for state government. Seriously, as far as inclusion and accessibility, diversity, inclusion, and employment.
Thank you.
Like, oh my gosh.
Appreciate that.
Think I met your HR director's husband at a meeting last week with the Chamber of Commerce that owns Quick Dry.
Could be, possibly.
But I wanted to ask you a more serious question about the National Young Bird Show.
Okay.
Are you guys still, hosting that in the fall?
That hasn't been decided yet. We have to go through a process of vetting for all of our events. So that one's kind of too far out to I'm not even thinking about that right now, to be honest with you.
Hey, you're totally fine. It's a day by day thing.
It
We're
is.
all
Yep. It's
well,
all kind of
treading water and
Yep.
trying to get through. But thank you so much for being here. And I would love to have a follow-up meeting with you and Gina and Kitty if possible.
Yes, by all means. And so everybody understands too, I mean, moving forward, anybody that we're bringing on, there is certainly the opportunity for the full-time hours, because we constantly are in this rotation of shows moving in, shows moving out. And it's getting to be very busy. So there's a lot of moving parts, and there's always stuff to be done here, even on non-event days, for sure.
Okay. We had a question in the chat from Enrica. Do you need experience in order to be a plumber's helper? And can an individual move from being a plumber's helper into a plumber?
So experience-wise, as far as a plumber's helper, if they have some kind of mechanical experience, or they're very mechanically inclined, we will certainly give that a shot. There is the potential to create a path to where an individual would be able to become a certified plumber. There's tuition reimbursement components because they have to go to school for it and things of that nature. So that's a much larger discussion with the right person, and those are pretty much on an individual basis. If somebody's good with their hands and they like working on stuff, certainly we'll give them a shot in either the plumbing or the painting sections.
Excellent.
Yep.
Okay. Other questions?
Bill, are those registered apprenticeships?
We're in the process of trying to develop that program, because anybody who's doing an apprenticeship here, because we're a state agency, the hours they work qualify towards their licensure. So like all of our master electricians, they do all their continuing education and all of their recertifications. So all of the hours that they work apply to that. So that is something that we're in the path of trying to develop. It's very much in the early stages right now, for sure.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, Michelle Dijon and her team are fantastic.
And then anybody that you have that's interested to apply, Kitty has all my contact information. You can certainly send an email or leave a message on my office phone. Email is going to be the fastest way to get in touch with me, or my cell number, which Kitty has as well. I think this is the longest I've been in my office this week. So I'm very much boots on the ground with all of our staff, and you know, I'm certainly going to make time for anybody that you have that would like to interview for a position.
And I have a few more questions.
Okay.
Is there a minimum age?
Have to be 18.
Have to be 18?
Yep.
What about parking for people who work at the fairgrounds?
As far as,
Where do they park? Do they have a spot? Do they have to pay?
no, they don't have to pay. They'll get a sticker for their car.
Okay.
Folks that ride the bus or something of that nature, they'll have, you know, an ID badge identifying them. We provide uniform shirts for all of our employees as well. There's no cost to the employees for that. And then it just depends really where at the facility you work, because we're on 500 acres.
Mhm.
So yeah, if somebody's working in the south wing, there's parking over there. If they work in, you know, Freedom Hall, it just depends really where you work, where you're assigned to work.
So does it mean they can get free admission to attractions?
If they're working, yes. If it's one of our if it's one of our in-house events that we host, I can pretty much guarantee you they'll have free admission because they'll be working. And then ticketed events and our client events, those we don't have any control over that, so they have to pay for those. But yeah, you know, the state fair, the farm show, the North American, that, you know, it encompasses, those events encompass our entire facility. So everybody that works in operations works those events for sure.
Excellent.
How do they go about applying, Bill?
Honestly, the best thing to do is either leave me a voicemail or someone can shoot me an email, and I'll just give them a call and coordinate a interview time with them. Either they'll interview with me or one of the supervisors within our organization. Probably starting out, all of your folks, you know, just they let me know that they're coming to me through the coalition, then I'll take care of those interviews myself and job assignments from there.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
And I'm going to have Elizabeth put Bill's email in the chat. So, so have your folks email them, explain that they heard about the job through the coalition, and that they would like to talk to him about it, and maybe indicate which position they're interested in, and to leave their phone number and their email in the email that they send to Bill.
And our turnaround time, so from the time I interview someone, it's usually about 2 to 3 days, give or take. So if somebody interviews with me on Monday and it works for their schedule, I'll probably start them, you know, Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday, somewhere in there. And if they need a week or two to start because of whatever, then that's fine too.
Excellent. Other questions?
And also too, if any of your folks use public transportation like TARC or any of that, there are bus stops at Gate 1, which is Phillips Lane, Gate 4, which is Crittenden Drive, and Gate 6, which is Preston Highway. So a lot of my current employees utilize the public transportation system here in Louisville, and it just works out really well because our entire facility is surrounded by bus stops.
Currently, are your folks wearing masks?
Yes, they are. Yep, we do. We have to follow all of that CDC guidance. We've got probably more hand sanitizers than you've ever seen in your life. And so, yeah, we do have to follow those.
Okay.
Any other questions?
No.
Well, thank you all very much. I appreciate being here today, and thank you for having me. And if you do have any other questions, or if you have folks that, you know, have some certain circumstances and issues that we may need to work through, by all means, feel free to reach out to me, for sure.
Well, thank you, Bill, for
Thank
being
you.
with us here today. I mean, it sounds like there's just so many different things that people could be doing out there. It
Yes,
sounds very interesting.
yes,
And
it is.
and if somebody wanted to go out there and try it out, the ability to either be part-time or full-time,
Mhm.
I think is a very important opportunity. And the flexibility that you're willing to show, and that you've been able to incorporate into these positions, is just gonna, for some folks, it'll make the difference between whether or not they are able to go to work.
Wonderful.
So we're very grateful for that. And it, it sounds like fun to me. I'd be one of
It
those
is.
people who want to talk to people all the time.
It is.
That you'd have to stick me in that area. But it just sounds very, very interesting to
Thank
me.
you.
And I think there's a number of folks out there that I think could find a happy home with you and
Wonderful.
your team. So thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
We have your email in the chat. So I'm going to encourage folks to reach out and have your consumers email Bill and tell them they
And-
heard about it through the coalition. They're interested in coming to work for them. Leave their phone number and, of course, their email.
Sure.
And know that if they really want to come to work, they can come to work this week, which,
I'll certainly be calling.
yeah.
And if any of you,
um,
And if any of you would like to come out with some of your folks to kind of take a look at the
Yes.
facility, get a better understanding of the way things kind of lay out, I'll certainly make myself available to do that.
that would be wonderful.
I think it would also help you all too, when you're talking with your folks, get a kind of a feel, because the place is,
Huge.
it's really massive.
Yeah.
I mean, one of our buildings is close to 3/4 of a mile long. So,
Explains why I was always so tired.
yes. And I will tell you, I think during the state fair, I averaged like 18,000 steps a day. But your folks certainly won't have to do that. So yeah, if anybody, if you have folks that are just getting back into the workforce or trying to, and or if they have sensory issues or they're a little apprehensive about, just because the place is so big, by all means, let me know. We can do a tour on kind of a non-event day, just so folks can get a better understanding of our facility.
That is awesome.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
If anybody wants any more information on that, just get in touch with me.
Yep.
So thank you, Bill. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. We appreciate you.
Likewise.
And
Thank
we
you.
appreciate you being here with us this morning.
Glad to be here.
Thank you.